Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, here's a thought provoking idea. You like meditation, you do meditation. Have you ever asked yourself who is doing the meditation? The simple answer that you can give is it's me. I am doing the meditation. Myself. Who else could be? Right? Now, your answer is it's me, myself, or I. What does that stand for? Where is this identification of me, myself, and I is coming from? If you inquire on this, where is this coming from, you'll surprise yourself. And when you surprise yourself with the inquiry, you'll also surprise yourself who is actually doing the meditation. Basically, in the beginning, the meditation is done by the ego self. Yeah, that's right. The ego is doing the meditation. Ego is the fire starter of the spiritual journey. Ego self is having the fun, and ego self is also going through the pain and suffering in life. And basically that is, each one of us. We all have an ego self. What is ego self? Ego self is a self that is missing the truth. A self that is missing the truth. And when the truth is revealed, the ego self gives up. That can happen from the being part of the inquiry practice, inquiry approach, which is for me is the real path. Now, ego self loves to be part of the spirituality. Why? Because for the ego self, that is the highest upgrade, highest meaning. Ego self is all about adding, upgrading, refining. And ego loves to be part of the spirituality. Until when the ego self knows that the whole spiritual journey is about the death of the ego, and that's where the ego gives up. Not to be part of the spiritual journey. And stop the real path and just entertains with the fun part of life, including the spirituality, by associating with the rest of the spirituality except deconstructing or dismantling or subtracting the mind. And because of that, the journey never ends, and the person who is seeking the truth will never realize the truth, because the ego self is always there as a protection to avoid the truth. And because of that, the suffering and pain or fear never ends from one's life. When the truth is missing, suffering exists. Pain, fear, conflict exist. And the ego self also creates the boundary to not to go through the pain and suffering, to avoid suffering and pain. Ego self creates a boundary as well. By controlling, by resisting, and running away from the reality. Controlling, resisting, running away from the reality is to, actually to prolong the suffering. And, we don't realize that controlling, resisting, running away itself is an effort, a non-stop effort to avoid the pain. But non-stop effort itself is a struggle, itself is a pain, isn't it? Notice how much struggle you are going through in your life just to avoid something, by not accepting the reality as it is. We create too much boundaries, rigid boundary. Why do we create rigid boundary through control? Is to avoid the pain, which is, maintaining the other side to see is maintaining the safety, maintaining the comfort, maintaining the protection. And why we are, what are we protecting? Why we are why do we have a fear of losing the comfort, safety? Because if you lose the safety, the comfort, then the uncertainty comes in. Uncertainty means, again, back to struggle, suffering, pain, fear of uncertainty, fear of pain, fear of, struggle. So we, create that boundary and we latch onto that. So this, all action is actually happening to avoid the fear. Again, it comes down to the ultimate answer to avoid everything in life is to avoid the death. Death of the ego. Ego doesn't want to die. The ego self itself, is creating all these boundaries, protection, to avoid avoiding the death of the ego, the non-existence scenario. Because if the ego comes to an end, there is that realization that there is no more experience in life. There is no more fun in life. And life is not about that, isn't it? Life is about all experience, fun. And ego doesn't like to be annihilated. Ego wants to thrive. But this is the thing, without bringing the death to the ego, without annihilating the ego, truth cannot be seen. And the spiritual journey is about bringing a death to the ego. So, going back to who is doing the meditation? Is the ego doing the meditation? Ego loves to be part of the spirituality, but avoids the real path. That means we are lingering in the, spiritual world, but not able to, free ourselves. And who is not able to free in the spirituality is you. Is the human race who is not able to cross the bridge to the other side. Even we conceptually know that you are the truth. Truth exists within you. You are consciousness, but not able to see what consciousness is, what truth is. It's because of avoiding the death of the ego. Again, ego is a fire starter. Ego self is a preference, is an idea that comes in to start any journey. In the relative world, yes, the ego is about, refining, catching the highest meaning, catching the highest upgrade in the physical world and mental world. But when it comes to spiritual freedom, spiritual enlightenment is about the opposite flow. It's not about expanding the ego, it's about dissolving the ego. And what I'm saying right now is the person who is meditating right now is, the ego self. So, here's the simple inquiry that can help you create an inward journey in dismantling the mind, subtracting the mind. We're talking about the meditation here. You can ask yourself, why am I associating with meditation? No doubt you have heard a lot of answers to be part of the meditation. A beautiful meaning is placed for your meditation practice. But that is not yours. That meaning is what you heard from the world. So it's not your idea to start the meditation. You have heard it. It sounds beautiful. It might help you, so you align with meditation. But truly, ask yourself, why am I doing meditation? Just why? Whatever answer comes in from that inquiry, now use that answer to deepen your inquiry by asking, why is that important? Then there's another answer. Use the second answer to deepen further by asking, why? Every answer you see, ask why. Why do I have this? Or why is this important? And that why is going to help you backtrack the mind to figure out the root cause to be part of the meditation. Once you find the root, you ask why and keep going back further until you dissolve all ideas in you. And that's the way to subtract the mind. Now, this is one of the scenarios. You are attached to meditation, you ask yourself why. am I attached to meditation? Okay, and this is just one scenario. And whatever you attach in your life, you ask yourself the same way. Especially when something is, seems like it's working, we don't ask question, we don't inquiry. But when it comes to spiritual freedom, you have to also inquiry on the, things that is working. Especially when things are working, we don't question. And pretty much, those are the things are conditioning us further physically and mentally. We don't realize that. It's conditioning. And truth is about dissolving the conditioning. So we have to investigate on the things that we're resisting and things that we are attached to. Both side of our lives, has to be questioned, and that's the way to go to the no mind. And the process, the whole journey ends with who am I? The who am I comes in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And who am I is going to set you free if you are thorough in dismantling your mind. So until we dismantle the mind thoroughly, the who am I is not going to work. Every time you ask who am I, what you see is your past, your present, and your imaginative future. So you don't want to be part of that. You want to catch the truth. So dismantling has to be there. Anyway, hope this video makes sense to some extent. I hope you enjoy your backward movement. Keep going. Okay? Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.